The new republic gained a prominent figurehead in the form of Admiral Alexander Kolchak, one of the most successful White Russian generals during the Civil War and the First World War, as well as self-proclaimed supreme ruler of all Russia. Kolchak had been forced to flee to the Far East following his unsuccessful attempt to seize power in 1924 in what came to be called the Kolchak Putsch. In 1935, Ransomur was involved in a brief military confrontation with Russia in what became known as the Amur Accident. By 1936, the Transmor Republic has become a corporate and militaristic state, politically, economically, and militarily under the thumb of Japanese. In more detail of economy, our production methods are outdated, and major share of factory is located in Vladivostok. We have in total 7 factories, and our island's friends want to privatize this too. With army, everything was better. At the disposal of the Admiral is located 22 division under management of Field Marshal Anatoly Pipelaev. But army wasn't a single unity. 1/4 of army constitute Kazakhs, which don't like obey high command. Politically, our country fragmented more. Support of Kolchak regime attended only in the east. Chukotka and Kamchatka supported Kolchak cause they didn't have alternative. Other eastern region was not far from center and lured, but that region had another problem. Big influence of Japan corporation and huge inequality forced people to join in a labor society, such as People's Revolutionary Army of the Far Eastern Republic. They organized strike and spread flyers, arranged sabotage. Leader of lawlessness was Vasily Blucher. Our eastern partners too interested in our territory. Kolchak already had an offer about sale of Kamchatka, but that one refused. Japanese offered round sum, but popularity it turned out to be more important. Plan of Japanese be really primitive. They won't get rid of Russians and increase of place for existence of Japanese. This plan tried to release none other than Uemitsu, lively legend of Russian-Japanese war, retired general and now ambassador in Russia. The most sworn evil of Kolchak government were considered Областники. This organization was unification of different nations in the Far East, and they performed for independence from Russia and for social equality between nations of Siberia. The ringleader of organization was Galachев Petr, разночинец and social revolutionary. As well, we had another political powers in the country, for example, Mladorossi, Durovs, Kazakhs, Czechoslovak Corps, and etc. But they did not have such an impact as those already listed. This picture made it clear that the Far Eastern Republic is a very unstable unity, where Admiral Kolchak is a deterrent mechanism that is trying and will try to make Russia great and strong. Obviously, Kolchak is not Democrat, and his methods of retention stability will be not completely peaceful. Kolchak's first actions in 1936 was an attempt to crush NRA. If Res can conduct a terror among civilian people, why we can't do the same thing among members of NRA? Kolchak spoke. After half a month in the 16 February, workers have begun demonstration against actions of Kolchak. But Kolchak, as the leader of the state, have deal in the outside world. In the 24th of March, from Alasharda arrived ambassadors. Kolchak has accepted ambassadors and concluded military contract. It turns out in Alasharda came to power Alexander Dutov, White General and momentous participant of Civil War. And now it is country Notre Dame, It is Orenburg Kazakh host. After meeting with Kazakhs, Admiral called assembly by topic our relation with other world. The ministers and associates of Kolchak thought about choice an ally. Either Canada or Japan. Everyone agreed on Japan. This choice justified by the Canada very far away, and in a difficult situation they will unable to help. Unlike Japanese, which have border with us in Korea, and which already helped us. In the 11 April of 1936, in the illegitimate Russia, socialists taken power. It was great news for our republic, because it increased confusion in the Russian society, and this improved our citation in the race for Russia. And so it was. In 1st of May, Laura Kornilov and Boris Savinkov raised uprising in the Soul. They united in White Front, and the world public was perplexed. How former left and organizer of White Rebellion could play on one side? Admittedly, an interesting sight. Second Russian Civil War broke out in 18 of May 1936. Nobody didn't win that much such as Admiral Kolchak and his Far East Republic. We purchased substantial territory and important cities like as Novosibirsk, Irkutsk, Krasnoyarsk, and one more thing. Those are Russian patriots who escaped from the Reds on our territory and began serving in our army. But this had pitfalls. Oblastniki with new power began his fighting. On the territory we liberated, they have secret points where they discuss actions to liberate Siberia. If for Moscow government it is not interesting and they don't care about Russian territory, we will fight with conspirators at any cost. But White Admiral accepted unexpected decision. He wanted to try reconcile with white-green rioters. Kolchak issued a decree on the creation of Sibsovet, which will be the authorized body of supreme ruler in the lands with civil administration. It is really an unpredictable move. Civil War on the West accurate new scales. The 6th of June in the Civil War joined Finns. They create White Karelia on border lands and one attached other part of region. After 5 days from the entry of the Finns in war with the support of Germans, in Pskov raised her head Russian volunteer army, with monarchists at the helm. Russia more and more divided. Everything was going well for us. Japanese investments, everyone grew up. We were able to agree about arms deal, and friends from islands have begun supply to us rifles for our political concessions. Support for NRA and Oblastniki was falling. Labors for 1 year began to live much better, and trust of Kolchak increased. But only close to Kolchak people worries about Japanese influence in the country. Summer passed quietly. By July 28th, we relocated our capital from Vladivostok and Irkutsk to simplification of logistic control. Our Red enemies failed in the north. Finns and their lapdogs defeat Northwest Army of Reds under control of General Zhukov and signed a peace treaty in 12th of August. Our Reds don't sleep too. In the 19th of August, a workers' demonstration took place, but it was visible to the naked eye. Socialist movement in Far East Republic is dying. Influence of Japanese delegation continued to grow. but admirals' support after Austria's refusal to recognize us dropped below 10%. After rejection of USA recognized us as a legal government, in Kolchak believed less 5% of population. Citation acquired frightening appearance, but they have already arrived. From the Far East Republic remained Khabarovsk and Vladivostok. Other lands split off when it became now Kolchak not ruler or government. He was unpopular person, but in some he still instilled faith and hope someone. After collapse of Transamur, Admiral escaped on a cruiser in Canada. Else members of Kolchak government lived in Kazakh steppes. On the major part of Republic reigned anarchy, but nominal territory were under control of transitional government of Siberia. Japanese occupied Chukotka and Kamchatka, but while at this region only an unenviable fate. Tokyo will begin Japanization and integration remains of a once sovereign republic, and in the beginning of 1938, the Japanese completely occupies Far Eastern Republic. Not only Siberia and Far East waiting for fate, the whole of Russia was at stake.
Мгновенья раздают, кому позор, кому бесславие, а кому бессмертие.